frequency that amplifies these voices, stories, and reports that make the difference. This is Akojopo News, 88.7 FM, the people's voice.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Akojopo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Welcome to the news around the world and the most listened to radio station, Akojopo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Olamide Badmus. First, the headlines. Tinubu receives Chad President Debbie at Aso Rock. Ibadan residents lament over shrinking purchasing power of 1,000 naira notes. 2 migrants died during attempts to cross English Channel. United Kingdom to host talks with 35 countries on reopening Strait of Hormuz. Nigeria's First Lady to grace closing ceremony of National Para Games in Abuja. Now the details. President Bola Tinubu today has received the President of the Republic of Chad, Marshal Mohammed Idris Deby Itno, at the State House, Abuja. The visit marks Deby's first official trip to Nigeria since President Tinubu attended his inauguration in N'Djamena, Chad's capital, on May 23, 2024. Today's meeting comes barely a week after President Tinubu received Prime Minister Terence Chiu of St. Kitts and Nevis on March 26, 2026, making the Deby's second head of state hosted by the Nigerian leader within 1 week. As the cost of living continues to rise across Nigeria, many citizens are feeling the impact in their daily expenses, especially in how far their money can go. 1,000 naira, once considered a reasonable amount for basic needs, now struggles to meet their wants and demands. This report takes a closer look at how the value of 1,000 naira has changed over time and how Nigerians are adjusting to the new economic reality. Akojopo FM news correspondent Abiodun Oloyede spoke with some residents of Ibadan to share their views. Here is the report.
In recent times, The value of 1,000 naira has significantly changed, affecting the daily lives of many Nigerians. Findings show that what 1,000 naira could comfortably buy a few years ago is no longer the same today. Before the removal of fuel subsidy in 2023, 1,000 naira can buy a combination of a big loaf of bread and a bottle of soft drinks. However, in 2026, 1,000 naira cannot purchase a loaf of bread. With the current realities in transportation, 1,000 naira can barely contain a resident of Ibadan from Iwo Road Terminal to Ojo and from Ojo back to the Iwo Road Terminal. Many expressed deep concern over the rising cost of living, stating that survival has become more difficult as prices continue to increase daily. Mr. Okina Yeso, a man who was walking very fast because of the hot sun before Agidigbo FM correspondent approached him, shared his own perspective on the issue.
I can use the 1 naira buy. 1,000 of now is not like before again now. So things is hard now.
The way the talking drum faces Mr. Okina should be different from Mr. Sodiq and Yaniyi, but the masses seem to be sharing the same reality.
1,000 naira can buy half of what it used to buy in those days. Even now, you can see the situation of the price of fuel in Nigeria. Before, I could buy 5 liters of fuel with 1,000 naira, but now I can only buy a liter or even less.
A young Nigerian who just purchased an egg roll from a roadside vendor has a lot to say on the changes in the purchase power of 1,000 naira. Beyond palliatives, Nigerians are calling on the government to implement urgent actions that will help stabilize prices, reduce hardship, and improve the standard of living for citizens. Many also hope that with the right policies and economic support, the value of money can be restored, bringing relief to households and small business owners struggling to cope with the current reality. Abiodun Oluyede, Agidigbo FM News.
Welcome back. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kule Amza Studio, Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Zikrot Fasasi. 2 migrants have died off the coast of France during an attempt to cross the English Channel. The incident occurred a day after the government signed an extension with France over current arrangements on beach patrols as part of efforts to reduce the number of channel crossings. The French Maritime Prefecture said the latest incident started when a small boat headed towards the beach at Gravelines around 9:30 a.m. yesterday, where a group of about 30 migrants was waiting. However, 8 people were pulled onto a rescue boat when they got into difficulty, but 2 of the migrants could not be saved, and a French Navy helicopter carried out a search as part of attempts to ensure nobody was left in the water. Refugee charity Care for Calais said it was a tragedy that another 2 lives has been lost to a deadly border and called for safer routes to be introduced so people could claim asylum. 6 London police officers are under investigation after a teenager was forced off an e-bike and left with a fractured knee. Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, said the 60-year-old boy was stopped and searched in Tottenham, North London on 26 April last year due to concerns about his manner of riding and general behavior, and nothing was found, while officers said he could go after taking the battery from his electric bike. However, the officers returned a short time later and arrested him on suspicion of a racially aggravated public order offense, threats to kill, and dangerous, and the boy was turned away from the police custody after a medical examination and sent to the hospital, where it was confirmed that he had sustained a fractured nail. According to IOPC, 3 of the officers are thereby being investigated for gross misconduct and how they treated the boy. A contact has also been made with the boy's family in order to obtain further evidence to assist with the investigation. And that ends the news from Kunle Amza Studio, Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Zikrot Fasasi.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya. The Supreme Court appeared skeptical of President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship, hearing argument in a high-stakes case that tests one of the pillars of the president's immigration agenda. A majority of justices seemed open to rejecting Mr. Trump's executive order, with several conservatives peppering the attorney, arguing for the administration with questions about the legal underpinnings and practical applications of the directive. Mr. Trump attended a portion of the arguments, the first time a sitting president has done so. He was accompanied by White House counsel David Warrington and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Following the session, Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social that the United States was the only country to allow birthright citizenship. Britain will host talks on Thursday aimed at forming a coalition of countries to explore ways to reopen the Strait of Hormuz after U.S. President Donald Trump said securing the vital waterways was a problem for other nations to resolve. British Foreign Minister Yvette Cooper will chair the vital meeting of about 35 countries including France, Germany, Italy, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates around midday in London to explore ways to restore freedom of navigation in the area. The United States is not due to attend. The meeting takes place after President Trump said in an address to his nation on Wednesday evening that the strait could be opened naturally, and it was the responsibility of countries that rely on the waterways to ensure it was open. And that is the news from Kule Amzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
Welcome back once again, now in the exciting world of sport. Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has confirmed her presence to grace the closing ceremony of the third edition of the National Para Games taking place at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. The National Sports Commission (NSC) disclosed that the First Lady, who has been a passionate lover and sponsor of parasport in Nigeria, is the special guest of honor as the Games comes to an exciting end on Friday inside the main bowl of the Abuja National Stadium. Nigeria's First Lady has been a very strong advocate of Nigerian sports development with her investment, funding, and support for different sports in the country. It will be recalled that Senator Oluremi Tinubu was the grand patron of the 2025 African Women's Volleyball Club Championship held in Abuja and has continued to support the people living with disabilities, especially in sports sector. To wrap up the news this evening, there is a recap of the headlines. Tinubu receives Chad President Debbie at Aso Rock. Ibadan residents lament over shrinking purchasing power of 1,000 naira notes. 2 migrants died during attempt to cross English Channel. United Kingdom to host talks with 35 countries on reopening Strait of Hormuz. Nigeria's First Lady to grace closing ceremony of National Para Games in Abuja.
Don't forget that you can listen to us live on our website www.agidigbo88.7fm.com. You can also download our mobile app on Google Play Store and iOS. Simply search for Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Follow us on Facebook at Agidigbo 88.7 FM, on Twitter and Instagram at Agidigbo 887 FM, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have news stories and tips for us, contact our newsroom on 070-8714-4865 or send us a mail on newsroom@agidigbo887fm.com.
And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. The biggest gap in your life is that between what you know and what you do. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo, 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Olamide Badmos. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, has called for continuous collaboration.
We bring you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
Southwest Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.